It would not have started without that unlooked-for inconvenience, that interruption that seemed so despairingly unfortunate. In the spring of 2023, I had lost my job and watched the possibilities of any other opportunities fall away like autumn leaves. But it is a part of every best story that an unforeseen turn should come out of difficulty. It is my firm belief that every life has a divine purpose, written and tailored for no other, so I resolved to uncover my own. I looked back and found interwoven in the journals of my past the common thread of story making, and my expressed desire to show God through that art. With this spark lit again, I took the plunge back into the world of fantasy. My initial purpose in starting this channel was merely to develop a marketing base, to document the journey of my latest project, so that by the time it was ready to publish, there would be enough people that actually knew about it. But over the course of this first year, it has turned into so much more. An adventure was underway. A quest to achieve more than just papers bound together. Through the journey of building a new world, shaping authentic characters, and designing an engaging plot, I have found new wonder in this world. Beauty in the life I am sailing through each day. I have glimpsed the ways in which my own character is being molded, that the best works will always take their share of time. And I'm coming to recognize the sovereign design in even the smallest events of life, and to rest in the divine control of the original author. As I've dug deeper into the question of what makes an authentic story here on the channel, the pieces of the puzzle have begun to surface one by one. And with each, the picture of reality itself, that reality that is bigger than all of us, that is deeper than can be explained, becomes somewhat closer. I want to be able to write a tale full of depth and meaning, but portrayed in the right way, an authentic, fantastical, readable sort of way. Whether there is a perfect work of fiction to finally arrive at, I do not know. More likely it is a constant perfection, a continual growing, an everlasting journey. The goal of this channel moving forward is to continue in this direction, to study, read, listen, and learn, to produce stories that will last, multi-layered tales that will meet people where they are, stories that will continue to improve. And so, to conclude this brief reflection on 1 year in the books, I find myself grateful above all else. I'm thankful to those who have come aboard, supporting with words of encouragement. God is teaching me to see this life through the lens of a wild and glorious adventure, to not be crushed by the difficulties and trials, but to allow them their proper place. Let's accept the adventure that is beckoning. A fantastic, unending story calls here and now. Eternity is the road just outside our door, its pathway running far ahead. Worlds are waiting. Hey everyone, I just wanted to end this video with a quick Q&A. And first of all, I just want to thank everyone that submitted questions. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to do that. I'm going to try and read them off in the order that they came in. So that would mean the first one is from a certain Gabriel Cooley, aka the older brother. He says, I wonder if you could talk a little bit more on why you think reading fiction is important as it relates to personal growth. And it's a good thing that one actually comes first, just because I think that the whole first half of this video is very much kind of in answer to that question. I think the biggest thing that I've experienced myself is just the fact of how it has helped me to see my own life and to see the world around me and to interact with others very much through this lens of story. And in that, it encourages me in the times where there are difficulties that I'm facing, where there are challenges. And I feel like the Lord has used it a lot to just help me see things in their proper place in life, and to be able to not be weighed down so heavily by the hard things, or to actually be able to slow down in those normal times and actually enjoy the simplicity in life and the people around me. The next string of questions that came in is from Lucy, from the Lucy Chronicles, and starting off with the first question. What are your hobbies outside of reading, writing, and disc golf? So yes, if you guys have been watching my videos for any amount of time now, you will know that those three are very much prominent in the things that I like to do with my time. Outside of that, definitely music. I will talk about that one a little more later. But I think with this one, I'm not very picky when it comes to things to do. I feel like I like to get out and enjoy the outdoors a lot. Usually like through hiking, going to state parks or just traveling. And but pretty much, I think my main answer for this one would be whatever my family is doing. I kind of just want to be a part of whatever they're doing. Recent years, I find how much I just enjoy being around my family, whether it's playing games around the table, sitting out on the front porch, talking for hours over a million different subjects. That's pretty much where I want to be, is just around my family. I'm kind of an introvert, so
I just want to stay here where it's cozy.
Next question from Lucy. How old are you?
87.
No, I'm just kidding. I am 32 currently. I was born in the good old year 1992.
Very good year.
What is your favorite book of the Old Testament and New Testament? If I just look at what has been my go-to for the longest period of time with the Old Testament, I would have to say the Psalms. I really love the poetry, and I just pretty much use it to learn how to pray, and I just draw so much encouragement from how many different kinds of prayers are in the Psalms. There are prayers of praise, rejoicing, cries for help, and also prayers that don't even have quite that resolution to them, but they're left with that question at the end. And I love that. So I'd have to go with the Psalms. New Testament, it's so hard. The first one that always comes to my mind when I think of the New Testament, I would have to go with Philippians. Some of my favorite verses are in Philippians, where Paul says that I may know him and the fellowship of his sufferings and the power of his resurrection. Just that cry to know him. So I'll go with Philippians on that one. And then she asks, are you a dog or a cat person? If I was to be by myself and have to pick one of the two to have as a pet, I would probably go with a dog. So we currently have an Australian Shepherd as a dog, and we have 3 indoor cats and 1 recently adopted outdoor male cat that's been hanging around, and I like all of them. So maybe I would tend more towards a dog person, but I like both. So last request from Lucy Chronicles. Share your salvation story, please. All right, so this one has always been kind of hard just because I grew up in a very Christian family. And there was quite a few times in my earliest church days where Sunday school teachers would have us ask the Lord into our heart multiple times in a year. But really the thing that I always come back to when I think of when I really made it my personal choice. And I was a kid. It was probably, I want to say 10 to 12. But I was lying in bed at night. I was just hit with this realization, that this question in me, have I really made that choice to serve Christ? Kind of filled with a little bit of a fear as well. Not sure if I was saved. And so in that moment, I got up, I pulled out my Bible, started praying, and I was just flooded with this peace in my heart. And so that's really the moment I always look back to, my making that first personal initial choice to follow Christ. So thank you, Lucy, for submitting those questions. The next one is from Pure Joy, Caitlin Cooley, which also happens to be one of my little sisters. Not little, but she's my little sister. What has been your favorite read this year so far? And that is a hard one because I've had so many good books this year that I've finished. So if you've seen my recent reads video, that's where the main ones I talked about are. And I think what I would have to go with is Till We Have Faces by C.S. Lewis. That's the one I feel like that has impacted me the most. I pretty much read that one mostly in just one day. Yeah, and I talk about it in my recent reads video, so if you want to know more about why, go check that one out. But thank you, Caitlin, for the question. Okay, so the next ones, the next string of questions, they're from Celestria, and her channel is called Celestria. And her first question is, do you play any other instruments besides guitar? As I mentioned earlier, music is one of my hobbies. Yes, mainly guitar that's kind of what I grew up. I got my first guitar on my 16th birthday. I always wanted to play because my dad played. But the first instrument I actually started learning was piano. I kind of picked up the guitar, left piano behind. But then later on, I got back into piano and I learned chord progressions. And so I can still play, not amazingly, but enough to follow along on songs if I'm playing in a band or something like that. I have played the electric bass on the worship team before. Other than that, I can't really play drums. I have played around a little bit with the Irish whistle before, mainly just chords on piano, I would say. All right, next question from Celestria. What was your favorite scene to write in The King's Sword? If you can answer this question without spoilers. I think I can. Referencing The King's Sword here, this is the first book I wrote. Without spoilers, I could just say chapter 41, and the first at least half of that chapter was definitely my favorite to write, the one I worked over the most, and I did actually reference it in my 8 questions video, so I will just title that scene as the Shining City scene. So the theme of the Shining City goes all the way back to my childhood. We had this picture book of St. George and the Dragon, and I grew up just loving the artwork. And there was this picture of the Shining City that he was looking over this vast countryside and could see it in the distance and was filled with the home yearning to arrive at that city. And that imagery has always stuck with me. So that made it into The King's Sword, my first book. And I think somehow that imagery is always going to find it into my writing. So, long explanation short, it would be that scene would be my favorite. Next question. Can you tell us about the new book you're working on? So yes, it's going to be a 2-book series. So the world that I'm currently developing is going to have a lot more books and series going into it. In a quick summary, this duology is going to follow a main character who starts out in this kind of semi-modern day world that is probably closest linked to like the year 1900 in our world, give or take. And so it's very much at a time of scientific advancement. I want to kind of create the feel of like a World War I England. So this main character at the beginning of the story starts having these deja vu kind of feeling experiences. He is working at a scientific institute that he will get caught up in the plot that they have actually uncovered this portal to this other world, this ancient world, this medieval fantastical world. I want to make it very much like a Middle Earth. You know, there's going to be a lot of other creatures. The main evil there is going to be like a evil creature. It's not going to be just like evil humans. And they have a whole plot, what they're trying to achieve through their access to this world. And he gets caught up in it. These experiences that he has been having are somehow linked to his place in the story. I'm going to be talking a lot more about it on upcoming videos as I'm writing it and developing it. So, next question from Celestria. What other genres would you consider writing? I would be open to, especially something like historical fiction. The only thing that I always hesitate with historical fiction is just the amount of research that would have to go into something like that. Otherwise, I think it would be kind of cool to try out a sci-fi sometime. Another one I would definitely be interested in trying out is like an early America Western, or even as far back as like the Revolutionary War time. I've always liked that period of America in history. And I have actually started a story a couple years back now that would take place during that time. But yeah, I mean, I read a pretty wide variety of genres, so I feel like I would be open to trying any of them out. What have you been reading in the Bible lately? I have been spending a lot of time in Proverbs since last fall. I've just been in a place where I really feel the need for wisdom in my life. And I've been going through, repeating the Proverbs over and over again up until about this spring. And I've kind of transitioned into the book of Ephesians. And I've been going through that pretty slow, just kind of taking it a chunk at a time, rereading, and just trying to really take a deep dive into that letter from Paul. I'd still like to continue to keep Proverbs in the secondary reading for the foreseeable future, just because I've just been getting so much out of it in the last half of a year, and I would like to continue to stay with it. So Proverbs, Ephesians. And that's the last one from Celestria, so thank you so much for submitting those questions. Those were some good ones. All right. And we have this last question from a Megan Cooley, which is sister, well, she's the older sister, younger than me, but older than Katie.
Oh, what is this?
I don't know. And she has two very good questions for me. What is your favorite meal or dessert? And I would love to know for sure what your favorite color is. And I did not necessarily ask her to ask me this question. Maybe I did. All right, so favorite meal / dessert. I would like to just say something generic like anything home cooked. I used to be so picky, and now I like love everything. Oh, wow. Okay, so lately my mom has been making this Thai dish called Penang chicken.
Many years since I've had such an exemplary vegetable.
I'm just gonna say that for now, just because it's been my favorite lately. Oh, wait, no. Chili, I love chili. Oh, chili with hot sauce. Maybe I'll go with that. Dessert. Brownies, maybe? I love brownies. I'm just gonna leave it at brownies. All right. She would love to know what my favorite color is. And Megan, I know you would guess red, because that's what I've always said. And yes, red is my favorite color.
You won!
Yeah, so that's going to be it for the questions. Again, thank you guys so much for submitting them. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video, this recap, this kind of reflection on my first year here on YouTube with this channel, Authentic Storymaking. I'm excited for the future of this channel and just continuing to learn and write and to discuss books and writing with you guys. We'll see you in the next video, guys.